certainty is not the same thing as actually knowing something to be true, right? They're different. Often we can see in other people, especially more so than in ourselves, perhaps, we can see that sometimes the less they actually know, the more it's sort of cloaked in greater certainty, you know, whether to convince other people or maybe even to convince themselves. Um, it's almost an inverse relationship, you know, the less we actually know, the more certain we are, to make up the difference. Um, Almost like a hot air balloon, if it's being weighted down by sort of tenuous beliefs, you just need more hot air, right, to keep it off the ground. So, but when we, let's say we get into spirituality and we start reading things, and people, even highly respected people, even people that have been um, dead for centuries, um, may be quoted as saying things, and they may be true or relatively true. Obviously, nothing that's spoken will be absolutely true, but they may be helpful. But what we can do is take what is said as possible pointers. Okay, if there's a resonance with the person that said whatever, suggested a practice, suggested a direction to look, suggested the possibility of what might be found, then we might trust that to the degree that we're willing to look for ourselves. What isn't helpful is just to believe it, because just the belief, by definition, means that we don't actually know. We just believe it. So in spirituality, belief is like kryptonite. It'll disable our search um, more easily than anything. And the reason for that is that belief can so easily be mistaken for truth. It's just easier, right? We don't have to do the hard work. We just believe something. Somebody said something, they seem respectable, they've been around for a long time, they have a lot of followers. I'll go with that. And if that's gives comfort to a person, wonderful. I have no problem with that. Everybody gets to choose. But if we have this urge for whatever reason to look deeper, to see what this life is actually about, then belief gets in the way. We can still use pointers that may be suggested, directions to look, practices to undertake. Fine, we can try it out, but the real value is to do it for ourselves, find out in our own direct firsthand experience whether it's true or not. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. We don't know until we actually find out for ourselves. We don't know. It doesn't matter how certain we are. It doesn't matter how fervently we believe something. The degree of being fervent has actually nothing to do with what's actually true. If we know something's true, there's no need to sort of um, fervently argue in favor of it, defend it, insist on it. If what we know is actually true, it's actually already true for the other person equally. So exactly who are you trying to convince? But most of the time, this sense of, being certain, being overconfident in what we believe has much more to do with our own comfort than it has to do with what's actually true. And I can see there's a, it's comforting to have, sort of ready-made theories or philosophies or religions that you can just subscribe to. And, you have a ready-made code of conduct, you have, um, a worldview that's, acceptable in society, perhaps to a large number of people, opinions that, are commonly supported. Um, there's not a lot of, thinking that's required. You just adopt the, either by conditioning or with some intention, adopt a certain lifestyle, code of conduct, philosophy, and there you go. You can, live a reasonably successful life. Great, wonderful, no problem. Okay, but it would be a mistake to take such beliefs for what's true. Okay, so by true spirituality, what I mean is actually looking for oneself in one's own direct experience for what's true. And the way I'm using that word true or truth is what's true for all people at all times, under all circumstances. Doesn't change over time. It doesn't change depending on the circumstances. It's not true for one person and not the other. It's just true. That narrows the realm of possibilities. So, but if our desire for whatever reason in this lifetime is to find out what that actually is, then we can't get there by belief. We can't actually get there by trying to figure it all out either. Because what that realization of truth isn't a concept, it's not a belief, it's not a theory, it's not a philosophy, it's not an experience either. It's actually what you are. So all attempts that we as individual people make to try to get there is actually in the wrong direction, because it's what we already are, our deepest nature. It's what actually is functioning through and as these bodies already. We're looking for it in the wrong direction. We're looking for it out there, and it is what's looking.